Why Europe's farmers are protesting and the far right is taking note. Ooh, I'm very. Are you concerned about the food supply? Then you might be far right. I just want to be able to feed my children. You fucking Nazi, you fucking racist bigot, Uber Mussolini mega Hitler. Look at you worried about your children starving to death. You fucking chud, you right-wing chud. But before we get started, this video is sponsored by World of Warships. World of Warships is a free-to-play game for the PC with over 44 million players worldwide. The game has beautiful maps and unique living landscapes with stunning graphics and weather changes during battle. Each warship needs a naval commander to lead it into battle, and there are many commanders to choose from, including over 10 iconic historical figures. The game also features over 400 historical ships that you can control, and each ship is designed based on historical documents and actual blueprints from the first half of the 20th century. There are 5 different classes, which include destroyers, battleships, cruisers, aircraft carriers, and submarines. So you've got plenty to choose from. There are always new events and missions to play in World of Warships. Imagine playing as Godzilla or Kong as a commander of your ship, or the incredible characters from Azure Lane, or battles against giant monsters from Big Hunt. These are some of the previous collaborations in World of Warships. And to those newly registering, use the promo code BRAVO to get a free 500 doubloons, 1.5 million credits, 7 days premium account time, and a ship. So show World of Warships some love and click the link. For some farmers already struggling, paying for more of their pollution is a step too far. Germany is the latest country to see anger boil over. Look at that. Of course, this is The Guardian, so they're going to be biased as hell, which is why I chose this one, because it'll be funny, because we'll just be able to just laugh at the entire article. But farmers paying for more of their pollution. Yeah, okay, the pollution is a side effect of some of the things that farmers use, and there's some chemicals that maybe they shouldn't use. However, when you start to introduce tariffs that directly interfere with the food supply, why is it the governments hate farmers so much? Well, there's a reason. There's actually currently a plan in place. You can find it on the UK government website, where the government will buy your farm from you and give you a massive payout. To quit farming. Now, why would they do something like that? Why is the government trying to consolidate all of the farmland? Because then they control the food. The columns of tractors that have blocked roads in Germany, causing chaos in cities. It's also kicked off in France as well, by the way. And headaches for commuters are the latest wave in a growing tide of anger against efforts to protect Europe's nature from the pollution pumped out by its farms. Now, this is the thing, is even if farmers stop doing this, they're still subject to the tariffs, so it's not to solve the problem. Because even if we want you to stop doing this, okay, we'll stop doing that. Oh, but you have to pay us anyway. It was never about that. It was never about solving the problem. In recent years, farmers in Western Europe have fought with increasing ferocity against policies to protect the planet that they say cost too much. Yeah, but one of the things that's hilarious, right, that I'll always find funny is see all the doomsday. I call it the doomsday cult, right? They're doomsday cultists. See when they're like, "Oh, climate change will destroy the food supply," like this. Like that's it. We need to, climate change will destroy the food supply, so we need to destroy the food supply. Like, these people are fucking morons. In the Netherlands, where the backlash has been strongest, a court ruling on nitrogen emissions in 2019 triggered furious and recurring protests. 70% of the air is nitrogen, by the way, over government efforts to close farms and cut the number of animals on them. In fact, is it? I'm pretty sure 70% of the air is already nitrogen. I'm sure. Science class was a very long time ago, and chemistry was never my strong point. But I'm sure 70% of the air is already nitrogen. And obviously nitrogen is good for the soil because it helps plants grow. In Belgium, similar fights led to convoys of tractors clogging the EU quarter of Brussels in March last year. In Ireland, which has seen smaller protests, daily farmers angry at nitrogen restrictions marched with their cows to the offices of 3 government ministers last month. There was also, I think it was France, it was an amazing video where they rolled giant bales of manure into the tax office and just rolled a giant sphere of shit like into the door of the tax office, and they started ripping it apart and throwing it all over the room. And there's a bit of the video, see if you watch it. It's like See if the guy wasn't a government employee, I'd almost feel bad for him, right? But you just see this guy just sitting behind the desk, and then a farmer just rips off a giant chunk of the shit, and it's all like turning to dust and everything because it's all dried out and full of straw. And he just launches it, and you just see this poor little bastard behind the desk just go like that, and then he just disappears in a cloud of shit. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. That's fucking funny. Like, I don't even have the video at your hand, but go find the video. It's fucking, it's so funny. Like, normalize throwing shit at the tax man. Like, that's what I'm saying. In Belgium, similar comment. In fact, I've just read all that. Spain and France have not escaped. On the back of Spain's hottest year on record, farmers took to the streets of Madrid in January 2023 after the government announced plans to restrict how much water they could take from the drought-struck Tagus River. The following month, French farmers drove tractors through Paris to protest a pesticide ban. Now the fight has come to Europe's biggest economy. After furious farmers dumped manure in the streets of Berlin in December, the German government watered down a plan to cut subsidies for diesel in farmyard vehicles. Now, one of the things that's meant to be, I know this is the case in Britain, I don't know what it is, everybody's heard about red diesel. Now, red diesel, the only difference between red diesel and regular diesel is red diesel isn't under the same tax regulations as everything else. Like, there's no, you hear people go, I stole red diesel from one of the yards the other day because the red diesel's so much better. No, it's not. It's diesel with red dye in it. Right, and it's basically so that people can catch you using red diesel in your car, although the police never check. They, like, never fucking check. But red diesel isn't under the same taxation because it's meant to be used for farming equipment, construction equipment, basically things that are essential for infrastructure. Right, so basically you don't pay the tax on it. That's what red diesel is and all that. But what point was I trying to make? The diesel thing. I don't know what the case is in other countries, but I know that that's the case here. But see if you can actually get arrested for getting caught with red diesel. People used to steal it all the time, and there was this whole rumor that red diesel was so much better. It's not. People were just stealing it because, fuel. That was it. I won't need to go to the garage again for like 6 months. That was the only reason people were stealing it. But there's still that whole fucking wives' tale. It lasts like 3 times as long. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's just diesel with food colouring in it. But lobby groups are pushing for them to scrap the plan entirely. Joachim Ruckwied, it's not a real name, president of the German Farmers Association, said last Monday that 100,000 tractors had hit the streets for a week of disruptive protests. Farmers today sent a clear signal to the federal government to completely withdraw the planned tax increases. Because basically that's what the government does whenever the government is able to do taxation, in other words, rob you through the threat of state violence, they can basically destroy you that way, and that's what they're trying to do with the farmers, right? They're not introducing other ways, like, basically they should have a backup plan where it's like, oh, but we want to make sure that you could still grow all of this food, because, now, I don't know if you know this, right? Now, you don't need to be that much of an economic expert, but when a nation doesn't have a good food supply, bad things can happen. There are these things called famines, right? And everybody's going, oh, do you want to know the thing that's funny? Is this bullshit will directly affect the food supply and people will blame climate change. Except what's really responsible is one of the things that's responsible for pretty much every single problem we fucking have is government regulation. Or we've decided that that's not okay anymore, so fuck the food supply. But then the government, when farmers are shutting down, it's the government that's buying the farms and the land back for them, so they're consolidating all of this stuff. Which means the government is eventually going to be in complete control of the food supply. Interesting that. Crazy. I wonder why they're trying to do that. For some farmers, the burden of paying for more of their pollution, this is The Guardian, remember, right? They're idiots. You should pay for all of your pollution. How about you pay for your fucking food then? Right? They've these fucking vegan arseholes that are like, I want fucking vegetables. Like, where do you think it comes from? Where do you think this, you want your fucking avocado on toast all the time? The soil needs nitrates. Right? I do a bit of gardening. I bury dead fish in my garden because it puts lots of nitrates in the soil. Right? There are certain things you can bury in the garden that put lots of nitrates in the soil that are very, very good for fruit and vegetables. Dead fish is a very, very good one. Right? Little gardening tip. I'm absolutely fucking garden pilled, by the way. Like, I've been growing so much of my own stuff. Not now because it's winter and I can't do anything because Scotland, the ground's completely frozen solid. But absolutely take the garden pill. Never mind this red pill, white pill, fucking black pill bullshit, man. Fucking take the garden pill. Seriously, I don't. It's kind of gay, like growing flowers and stuff. You're like, no, it's not. It's fun. It's excellent. I fucking enjoy it so much. Some say they feel overburdened by rules. That's the point. And undervalued by city dwellers who eat the food they grow without knowing where it came from or the process it takes to actually create it. There's so much nitrogen going in the soil. Like, fucking, so let's just shut it down and tax them to oblivion. And then these same people are going to be like, why did my vegan cafe shut down? Because there's no fucking vegetables left. Right? Basically, this is the problem. This is the same thing that Hazlitt talks about in his fucking book, that these fucking liberal idiots, like, they only see immediate gain. They never ever consider the big picture. Like, they just see an action and will go ahead with the action, and they don't give a fuck about the butterfly effect of it. Like, they care about now, they don't care about the fucking 10 years down the line when the true problems made by their decision will start to rear its ugly head. I'm sorry, my nose is blocked. So it's very difficult for me to speak. Like, and it's a pain in the arse, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of constant bad decisions made by a bunch of fucking screaming 20-year-olds that know fucking nothing about the world or how it works. They don't know anything about farming, right? I'll admit, look, I'm a little bit of a gardener. I don't know about farming, right? Yeah, okay, I've got some tomato plants. I can tell you how to grow a tomato plant. Do I know how to grow tomatoes at a giant fucking scale to feed a country? No, I don't. The farmers know about that. The MPs that are sitting in the fucking office know nothing about farming. They absolutely know nothing about the process. All they've saw is high nitrogen. Well, what an excellent opportunity to make more money. Tax them. And then fucking 10 years from now, everyone's going to go, why is there dead people in the street that look like they fucking just came out of a concentration camp? Because there's no food. Why? But the taxis. We needed the taxis. Like, fuck off. These people are clowns. They're absolute idiots. And agricultural giants like the Netherlands and France, farmers have expressed frustration at the pressure from governments to produce less after years of encouragement to make more. Because this is the thing, is when you want as much food as possible. Any left over, you can sell on, you could export it to other countries, but it's also very important for your country to have regular access to food, especially considering the way things are going in Eastern Europe and the Middle East right now. Remember when food became very, very important during World War II? Well, food could become very, very important again. Everyone buy canned goods. Look into pickling. Look into preserving stuff. You can pick up a diesel generator for just 250 quid on Amazon, and you might say 250 quid, that's a lot, but trust me, I'm hoping one day could come a point where that'll be the best purchase you ever made. I hope that day never comes, and I hope forever you regret the purchase. I hope that you regret the purchase forever and ever. I don't ever want a day to come where it's, thank fuck we bought that. Like, I hope that day never comes. Environmental activists say that they do not want to reduce subsidies to farmers. I mean, I think they should. They shouldn't be propped up by the state. You know, either do well or die. You know, capitalism whole. But instead, spend them in a less destructive way. Sasha Müller-Krainer, head of campaign group Environmental Action Germany, calls for every euro of agricultural subsidy to come with ecological and social strings. So you want government money, here's some strings attached. That's all government money. There's always strings attached. We need a better subsidy policy that gets more for farm income, climate protection and nature with the same funds, he said. Subsidies that are harmful to the climate must be phased out. Okay, then you need to invent, right? This is the thing, is that if you want that, then you need to invent different kinds of fertilizers that help the plants. Now, the key big main one is nitrates. That's why horse manure, I hate horse manure time, see, because I live in the middle of nowhere. See when it's time to fucking basically shit the fields, as some of them say. Oh, that's a bad week. It's a horrible fucking week. We seal up every window of the house. It still gets inside. It's fucking disgusting, right? It's reeking. But it's what the fields need. So basically what is required is you need to create umbrella labs to create an entirely new organism that doesn't require any of that stuff, right? We need a plant that doesn't require nitrates to grow well. That's fine. Put the money into bioengineering, because as far as I'm aware, a lot of plants are very fond of nitrates, and that's what makes them grow, right? So But basically, bioengineer new life, right? That's what you need to do. I'm so sick of this cold. It's not even a bad cold. It's just the one that pisses me off and annoys me. Scientists, meanwhile, have pointed to the damage that will be done to farms as planet heating pollution it turns the climate less hospitable to humans. The planet's actually getting colder. You looked at the actual stats, the planet's getting colder. It's funny that, isn't it? More than 80% of habitats in Europe are in poor shape, according to the European Commission, and yields for some crops have already been hit by poor soils, a lack of water, and extreme weather events that are growing increasingly violent. We actually just had a big, massive storm last night. I do the smart thing and bring my bins inside, but I went out into the street, and there's just like, I live near a bunch of fields, and I just saw like a bin just like way fucking out there. Like the heavens just took that thing. I don't even think it's from my street. The heavens just took this bin from some other place in Scotland and dropped it in a field. In the Netherlands, the nitrogen crisis led to the creation of the Farmer Citizen Movement, a rural populist party that scored big wins in provincial elections in March, but came sixth in general elections in November. In Germany, the protests have gained vocal support from the far-right Alternative for Germany. Good boys, I like them. I've hung out with them a few times. Good bunch of lads, and groups with more extreme and anti-democratic views. I love how it's like, you don't like the government trying to destroy the food supply, you some kind of Nazi? You one of those right-wing chuds that is worried about the future of the human race? You one of those guys? Sus. The Climate and Economy Minister, Robert Habeck, warned on Monday of fringe groups exploiting the protests. There are calls circulating with coup fantasies, extremist groups are forming, and ethnic nationalist symbols are being openly displayed, he said. I think it's a lot of people are starting to get very, very fed up. Basically, this is the thing that's hilarious about it. See how anything right-wing, you've essentially banned it online. Right? It's completely illegal online. You're not allowed websites, not allowed symbols, not allowed that. And any places that crop up that are specifically dedicated for that type of stuff, you try and take them down. You shut down their payment processors. You fucking get them kicked out of their online web hosts, all of that type of stuff. And yet it's constantly getting worse. All the time. All the time. Constantly getting worse. So it seems like none of that stuff is working. Why is it still getting worse if you're still doing all of that stuff? Maybe all the stuff you're doing is making it worse. Maybe it gets to the point. There's a case of see what was it Louis the 14th in the 1700s when everyone's like, oh, he chopped his head off. Well, what did he do? The people got really angry for a reason. Like the French didn't just wake up one morning and go, you know what? For no reason whatsoever, let's bust out the guillotine, right? That didn't happen. Something happened. There was some events that led up to that, right? And it's the case, if you don't want that to happen to you, then don't do that stuff, right? Now, one thing everybody's saying it's far right. No, I think it's a pretty universal concern about the food supply. I think that affects everybody. Unless leftists just don't eat or something, they just exist. They just sit in the sun like a plant and fucking photosynthesize or something like that. I mean, I don't think they do, but again, I'm no scientist. I think it's a universal concern what happens with the food supply, right? And I think it's very, very concerning that governments all over the places are dicking with the food supply to the point where farmers are having to sell off their farms because they can't afford it anymore, and the person that's buying the farms is the government. To the point where the UK even has a government subsidy plan to buy your farm from you and is encouraging people to quit farming. Why is that? Because that's the thing is, when the government takes the farms over, they're going to go, that's cool, let's fill the soil with nitrates and do exactly what the farmers were doing all the time. Oh, but it's fine if we do it though, we're the government. Right? It's just basically, this is the one thing that's funny that leftists are not realising. Oh, the Great Depression happened and it was a big, massive stealing of wealth. All the rich people exited the market right before it happened, like they engineered it or something. And then when everybody's businesses shut down and nobody could afford their mortgages, all these rich people then started buying all of it up for pennies on the dollar. And leftists see right through that because that is essentially what happened. But it's happening again right in front of them and they're just not fucking seeing that. This is a massive seizure of wealth. That's what it is. Farmers own a lot of fucking land. Like, farmers are millionaires, essentially. They've inherited, like, this huge amount of land in a very profitable business. Well, it was at one point. and all that. So farmers are very, very fucking wealthy. And when someone's wealthy, they're powerful, and the government does not like that. So that's why they're trying to get rid of all the farmers. Right? They don't like the fact that the farmers have so much control over the food supply, except farmers aren't going to withhold the food supply because then they make no money and they'll just lose their fucking farm. Right? So this is basically a massive seizure of wealth. That's what it is. They're trying to make farming completely unaffordable for everyone except the state. So then the state controls all the farms and the state controls all the food. This is a massive seizure of wealth, just like what happened in the Great Depression, right? Where the rich people engineered it, made things bad on purpose, and then bought everybody's stuff for pennies on the dollar. This is the exact same thing, but with farms. The food supply. Yet leftists just don't fucking see it, because they're fucking morons. The protests have also highlighted a split among Europe's moderate conservative groups. In the European Parliament last year, the centre-right European People's Party led a right-wing alliance of lawmakers who narrowly failed to throw out a bill to restore nature on the grounds that it would hurt farmers. The proposal is a key pillar of the European Green Deal, championed by the European Commission President and EPP heavyweight Ursula von der Leyen, that the centre-right grouping had previously backed. I think von der Leyen is probably one of the, unless I'm getting her confused with a different person, I do apologise if I am, but she's like one of the biggest enemies of free speech in all of Europe. She fucking hates it. She hates it. She bitches about it all the time. We need to control social media. We need to control this. So basically, full-on authoritarian. So see if that is the same person that I'm thinking of. Basically, get them out of power immediately. That's a tyrant. That's a tyrant in the making. Grassroots supporters of farmers' protests, from campaign placards to telegram groups, has also overlapped with conspiracy theories about issues such as COVID, climate breakdown, and migration. The Netherlands was a bit of a harbinger when it comes to these protests, said Leonie de Jong, a political scientist at the University of Groningen who studies the far right. This is the new kind of agrarian populism popping up in the right. See that? That's the new code phrase. Right, keep an eye on that phrase. Agrarian populism. Basically, they know that everyone that lives out in the countryside is most likely going to be conservative and right-wing. Right, which means that they are the farmers, they have an awful lot of power, so they're trying to take it from them and they want to be in control of the food supply. That's what it is. Basically, engineer it so that it's almost impossible for them to keep their farms and then buy the farms for pennies on the dollar. And then, hey-ho, you control the entire food supply. And is it not... See, if it happened in, like, one place, then I'd be kind of like, right, that's just government doing what it does. Just really, really bad decisions. The fact that it's happening everywhere, all over Europe, funnily enough, is strange. That all of this happened at the same time. It's strange that, isn't it? But I'm just saying, this is something to definitely watch, because this is a massive seizure of wealth by the elite. That's what it is. But it's not just a seizure of wealth by the elite. They're not just, the Great Depression, they were just looking for more money, more property, more power. Now they are looking for the same, but they are also looking to be in control of the food supply. And if they control the food supply, they can manufacture famines. They can decide who gets the food. They basically... what is it? See, the whole control... What was that fucking phrase? I'm probably going to completely mispronounce it or something, where it's like, give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes its laws, or something. Give me control of a nation's fucking food. Ooh, yeah, you'd be God at that point.